What is up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about a few of my experiences playing the Battlefield Hardline Beta. Now, I know my video is coming a little bit on the late side, especially when compared with some other producers out there, but I don't want to go too much into detail in this video on, the good points about Battlefield Hardline, what's been done right, what's been done wrong, because as I'm sure you're all well aware, this is an EA Ronku assignment that has been put out there, and you're going to see a lot of other producers doing that exact same thing, and I'm sure you guys have seen dozens of those videos now, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about that. In fact, what I wanted to really talk about was some of the new vehicles that are going to be in the game, and in specifics, how the jet gameplay is going to work into that, because I think we were all very surprised when we saw that leaked trailer to find jets in there. However, before I get into that, I will say that I'm kind of glad the direction that Visceral are taking this game. They've obviously not bitten quite as big of a chunk off as DICE did. I really think with Battlefield 4, that DICE bit off a bit more than they could chew. They made the game a little bit too complicated, were too ambitious with it, and that is part of the reason why the game kind of flopped and had a huge amount of problems. So it's really nice to see Visceral not trying to impress anybody. They're just trying to fix some of the things that people have been asking for. I'm sure you guys have heard by now that a lot of bigger YouTubers got invited over to, I think it was San Francisco, where Visceral are located. And during this play session, they were able to give the developers their feedback, come back for a later play session, and see some of their feedback had actually been implemented into the game, which, must have been a great feeling. So, all these small changes like being able to pick up ammo from a support player and being able to pick up health from an assault player. I know they're not called support and assault. I'm really going to have to learn these new names. I think it's operator and enforcer. There we go, I finally got it. But, that's a change that's fairly simple to make, and people have been asking for since Battlefield 3 or even before that time. So it's great to see them finally addressing some of these things and just really making it a cleaner and essentially more simplistic game. I think that's definitely the way to go. I get it that Battlefield is supposed to be this huge, impressive universe with epic fights and an epic battlefield, right? But if you look at a game like Counter-Strike, for example, hugely successful, but it's very simplistic in its nature, and really the more complications you throw at a game, the more things that can go wrong. So, overall, I think this has definitely led to a more clean infantry-style shooting experience. Alright guys, so that said, getting back to the jets. As you guys know, I'm a pretty big jet connoisseur. Is that a word? I don't even know. But I like my jets, yeah, I'm sure you guys do as well, since you like and enjoy watching my channel. But how are they exactly going to work in Battlefield Hardline? Because I don't really know. I'm kind of puzzled. So obviously we haven't been able to test out the jets in the beta, which is a little bit of a letdown for me because I would have really liked to know how they are. But not only that, this beta is a great opportunity for us to give our feedback to Visceral. Obviously, they have not done and followed suit like DICE did last year with Battlefield 4. They did the beta and then I think they released the actual game 2 weeks after that, which is absolutely mind-boggling because how can you possibly make any changes to the game in that sort of a time frame? But this time around, Visceral have brought out the beta nice and early, so the fact that they didn't put the jets in there means that they're not actually going to be able to get any feedback and balance them accordingly. So, I am a little bit worried that they're going to be either underpowered or overpowered when the game finally releases. But obviously, since we couldn't try them, we only really have the rest of the vehicles to go by to know how the jets are going to work. So I'm sure you guys will realise there is a huge focus on transportation in Hardline. It's not about vehicles and heavy armour that will dish out a lot of firepower. It's more about tactics and transporting your team. Some of the vehicles do have some weapons on them. One of them has like a cannon similar to what the LAV has in Battlefield 4, and some of them have 50 caliber machine guns on there. But other than that, they're mainly about speed and transportation. I'll also say that the only vehicle that really comes back from Battlefield 4 in the Battlefield Hardline Beta is the patrol helicopter, otherwise known as the scout helicopter from Battlefield 4. Now, whenever I've been in there, the cannons on that thing seem really weak and underpowered to the miniguns in Battlefield 4. Those miniguns, they spray out at a huge rate of fire, and you can tell, man, that thing is just powerful. You can rip through infantry with them. if you've had the opportunity to go in the Battlefield Hardline Beta and get into the patrol helicopter, you kind of feel like you're firing a pea shooter from that thing. So I suppose what I'm mainly worried about is that the jets are going to follow suit and be very similar. To be honest, I was very surprised to see Visceral actually put jets into this game at all. I honestly wasn't expecting them when I heard about the kind of vehicles that were going to be in Hardline, because the SWAT team doesn't have access to jets. They don't have access to military grade munitions and equipment, right? So what are we exactly going to be seeing for the jets? Because there's not going to be any TV missiles, right? No rocket pods, no JDAMs, none of that stuff. They're not going to have anything military within this game. So my worry is that we're going to have some piddly little machine gun on the end of a really old jet, basically. And it's, I don't know, it just seems kind of lame. Now, something else that I heard from Levelcap actually in one of his latest videos, he was talking about his trip over to San Francisco, and he was also talking a little bit about some of the other Hardline maps that he tried out. Now, while he couldn't go into detail, he did actually say that High Tension was actually one of the more vehicle-filled maps. I kind of got the impression of High Tension that it was sort of one of the middle maps, you know, so there would be maps that would be like infantry only. So like, imagine Close Quarters from Battlefield 3's expansion, yeah. And then there would be some other maps that would be even more vehicular based than High Tension was, and those would most likely be more wide open and also the ones to contain the jets. But according to him, High Tension is actually pretty much the most vehicular combat you're going to see out of Hardline, so I don't know, man. I'm just really struggling to find how they're going to get jets and implement them into the game. Now, one idea I did think of is the good old two-seater jet idea, and I know everybody says this every new Battlefield game. They're like, woo, two-seater jets, man, and you know, this is just something that people have been asking for so long. So it would be pretty epic if Visceral actually implemented this, because, you know, we've got two-seater armor, tanks, and, you know, LAVs and whatnot. You've got two-seater aircraft in the form of helicopters, so why not two-seater jets? In a setting like Battlefield 4, I can understand how this would be overpowered, but let's just say for a moment that in Hardline, you are only going to have your primary weapon, and it is only going to be a pretty basic machine gun, or, you know, some sort of a chain cannon. You know, I think having two-seater jets and having a secondary gunner position would be okay in those circumstances. Anyway guys, those are just some thoughts that I had after playing the beta. Overall, I have enjoyed the beta, you know, I've enjoyed the changes that Visceral and DICE have made to the game. I'm a bit upset about the price tag on this game. 70 bucks for a game that is just, it just looks and feels so similar to Battlefield 4. And whilst a lot of the changes that they're making to the game are great, essentially a lot of them are changes that should have already been in Battlefield 4 anyway. But I'm really looking forward to seeing more about this game, you know, getting to find out more information about the new maps, new vehicles, especially the jets, and I will be covering that stuff and updating you guys. So let me know your thoughts on the video down below as always. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.